Goldylocks Productions broadcasts universal cosmic frequencies that unlock, awaken, and expand the consciousness of our worldwide viewers and listeners.
Goldylocks Productions presents the Inspiration from Spirit show with your host, Reverend Lea Chapin. The focus and goal for this show is to assist humanity in the awakening of a new level of consciousness that will bring peace to planet Earth.
Welcome. We have another exciting show today. I'm so excited that you're here with us. Thank you for all the new listeners that are here listening today. Thank you so much. Namaste. And all those loyal listeners, we thank you as well for being a part of Inspiration from Spirit. We're here to educate, empower, and awaken humanity to a new level of understanding. We've got some powerful information to share today about Atlantis. I know if you've been watching for the past couple of weeks or so, we've been talking about Atlantis, and today we're going to talk a little bit more about that, about why this is important in these what we call troubled times in this current civilization, why it's so important to remember the spirit and the power of who we are as powerful spiritual physical beings of light, but also to reawaken and to remember that we do have power to change timelines so that our civilization can return to the planet of peace and love in which it was created. So today I've asked, again, Reverend Tiffany White Sage Woman, who's the owner of Goldylocks Productions, to be with me here today, as well as Reverend Sharon Elizabeth James from the Cosmic Center of Spiritual Light in Sarasota, Florida, who is my beautiful minister, that's a part of my tribe there in Sarasota. I'm so excited to get back there and be with my people. So both of them are here today, and Reverend Sharon is a divine channel. She's an ordained minister and serves as a pastor of the Cosmic Center of Spiritual Light in Sarasota, Florida, where the purpose of the center is to guide others in finding and tapping into their own divinity and their boundless ability as creators and co-creators of one God. In July of 2007, she was impressed by the celestial beings of light to begin to facilitate the anchoring light meditation every Monday night to assist in the planetary ascension. She's been devoted to that rain or shine since 2007. And Reverend Tiffany White Sage Woman, as we know, is the owner and producer of Goldylocks Productions. She also is an ordained minister, and she's an animal lover. She now has a rooster in her backyard, so we may hear that rooster today. She is a Seraphim Blueprint practitioner. And she also is, once again, the owner and producer, producing podcasts, radio, TV shows, events for the spiritual, metaphysical, and holistic professions. So welcome, both of you, my Atlantean sisters. So welcome. So Tiffany, I want to start because I know on Saturday we did an event, or we did a teleconference call, where I channeled Ramu, the generator crystal from the time of Atlantis. And I know that you were picking up on information or already know much information about Ramu and the crystal. And so I want you to give the listeners a little background about your knowledge about Atlantis. And again, the opening of the Divine Mother Portal that you're aware of there at the Bach Tower in Lake Wales, Florida. And then we're going to segue right into Sharon Elizabeth with her ceremony that she did on the same day, September 12th, where she was guided as well. So we are all in co-collaboration with bringing this planet into the fifth dimensional frequency and beyond. So Tiffany, share with us, if you don't mind, what you know about your experience and understanding of Atlantis.
Okay, so I think I first became aware of the past lives. We will dream about them, reoccurring usually as past lives, usually. And then just even in meditation, visions, and it really goes all the way back to when I was a teenager. And interestingly, because I'm not going to go into it now, but how I was raised, and Isis stepped in and was helping me. I've always been able to communicate with angels, with the seraphim, since I can remember. So the angels, and I wasn't allowed to communicate with guides, with spirit, because that scared my mom. So, but the angels, and then Isis came in, and between the seraphim angels and Isis, they were showing me and telling me and teaching me a lot of things. And I was like, okay. And so then I started to have there were memories. And so I'm asking, are you showing me this, or is this my actual memories? and they're actually yours, and they guided me to Edgar Cayce. I mean, I grew up in the Virginia Beach area, so hey, this Edgar Cayce Center's there. So they were just like, no, Atlantis is real. You know this. You've always had this attraction too, with the water, with the Bermuda Triangle, and they're just like, just let it all come forward naturally. And because, and I think we're all like this, if we're told something, if it, we don't know how to digest that yet, but if it comes to us and it feels right and we feel it vibrate within our body, then we know it's the truth. And so I had to let that happen and settle in. And then it was just like, oh, that's beautiful. And so, yes, so in 2014 and 2015, there's a flood of the divine feminine energy coming back in onto this earth plane. Yes, everyone that's here now and that is doing this work, we are the old Atlanteans, the new Atlanteans. It's interesting because I'd always had heard that with the pole shift, things that sunk will rise. And so like the Atlantean temples and can be exposed again. And so, but also to the things that were created that came up, surfaced, will sink again. So I was just like, oh, so then, there'll be proof of Atlantis and everything. And this is how conversation and dialogue was going on. And they're like, well, there's already proof, and don't worry about that. And it's like, we are the modern Atlanteans coming to anchor back in this new golden age. It's not going to be like it was before because we have experience of over 10,000 years plus of darkness to add to under our belt, right? To add to our experience. And then how we've ascended free will back to the light. And so it's very powerful times that we're in. So everyone who's even attracted to Lemuria or Atlantean, it's not a myth. It's our actual ancestry. And so we are anchoring in and bring in these new powerful energies to bring peace back on this earth plane as she is ascending from the third dimension to fifth dimension. And nothing's going to stop this ascension, by the way. So they just wanted to make it clear that it is happening. And how beautiful it is to be a part of witnessing, not just witnessing, but we are participating and being active in this peace returning to the earth plane, because this has been our mission, right, ladies? This has been our drive. This has been our mission. This is, here we are. And I always do it at a young age that peace was going to come back to, I always believed that peace was going to be back on this earth plane. And you tell people that and they laugh at you. They think you're cute when you're a kid. They think it's annoying when you're a teenager. They think, they're just like, just be quiet.
You're crazy.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just like, no, it's really happening. And you quickly learn too that not everybody has the abilities that you do. So it's like, you gotta be quiet. So yes, all of these beautiful energies is here, is present, and they want us to stay focused in that. And there's validation all the time that's and when we say, and this is what I'm here to, it is for those that are tuning in, might be new to this, is the rise of the divine feminine. It's not going from one extreme to the next. It is bringing it into perfect harmony, that beautiful balance between the divine feminine and the divine masculine. All right. It's bringing that harmony back. Yes. All right. So it's not going from one extreme to the next. That would be just as bad. We don't do that. This is not
going to burn the bras.
Exactly right. And so when Reverend Lee on the call on Saturday, if you've missed it, you need to get in touch with her. And she has the recording, but you need to contact Reverend Lee if you are interested in joining that group. Her group calls, her teleconference calls. So she was talking about Bach Tower, and I immediately felt this beautiful pink and white and swirls a little purple, so like the lilac source of fire come in. And it's interesting about the Bach Tower being circular. Okay, because I've always get the analogies that we're lighthouses, circular conduits, and the energy doesn't go up and down our bodies, it spirals. And so up and down, or what's up, what's down, and it doesn't mean higher is better, lower is worse either. No, that's not how energy flows and works. So, but I could just, she says Bach Tower, and I could see this visualization of this light swirling and swirling, and was like, oh yes, this is another places all over the earth, energy centers are being reawakened, and it was reawakened. And this is what Reverend Sharon Elizabeth is going to talk about here in a few minutes, to that experience of reawakening that area and bringing that area back online, so to speak, right? Because there's some places that are still dormant, asleep, and these areas are coming back all over the earth, coming back online. And so it's very, very beautiful how this is all taking place. And I didn't know about what was happening at Bach Tower till I was just, hey, this is what I'm getting. And then Reverend Lee was like, oh, that's interesting. Here's what's happening. And I was like, oh, okay. But, yes, so the whole thing with Bermuda Triangle, too, that's not the mystery, is just this beautiful, the crystal, whether some people call it the great crystal, the fire crystal. It was the crystal that was in the Poseidon Temple. And the Poseidon Temple was the first structure in Atlantis and the last. It was the last to fall. But it held the great crystal. And this is a portal. Portal. And it was used harmoniously by the priestess and the priests. And the fall was when the scientists wanted to use it incorrectly, and starting to, just to use it in a warlike state instead of being peaceful on Earth. Anyway, we'll say that for another day of the whole fall. We all can, read about it, know about it. We've been there, done that. Not going to let that happen again. And that's pretty much what we are here for, is to make sure that's not happening again. And so we're making sure that doesn't. So there you go.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Thank you.
Sharon Elizabeth. So as we segue into Sharon Elizabeth, so you and I had gotten together about 6 months ago at the Cosmic Center with our good friend Joanne Gall and removed the generator crystal, which Tiffany was speaking out. I've been working with Remove for many years, probably 10 years, channeling his information. And I started working with him when I went to the Bahamas to do activation of balancing the male-female energy between Atlantis and Lemuria 10 years ago or more. And so when we brought that information 6 months ago, it was before COVID even, everything was really wacky. It was just the beginning. And we for me, you want to preface this, but was like, well, what is the urgency now? The four of us were anchored as pillars of light to anchor the light into the planet so that Atlantis, the darkness wouldn't come. But, we knew, again, there's a lot of craziness and chaos out there, but I guess we didn't really know if this was how the year was going to be when we did that 6 months ago. So I'm going to let you take it away and what your thoughts are about 6 months ago, and then where you are now with this ceremony and how that sort of evolved for you.
Okay. All righty. Well, I guess, for all of us, we start from the beginning, and real quick, the beginning was, for me, my memory went back to being 1.5 years old, but I had experience when I was 2.5 years old. And I guess that experience came in where I was pure, I was innocent, and I had what people would call cosmic consciousness. I was one with everything. Mm-hmm. So that was the seed from the very beginning, of almost my birth. I'm trying to get back to that. So through all the conditioning, of like a Catholic school and different conditionings, family, condition, this is the way, but it was something that was very deep inside of me that was like, I'm not feeling so sure about that. And just like you, Tiffany, I learned to be quiet because I was saying things and people would look at me, and I realized not everybody was seeing or hearing or understanding what I was. So I think we all learn at some point, to be very discerning. Exactly. So I just spoke to the invisible people. Those were the ones I was most close to. And one of the things, very, very young, elementary school, I went to a school called Our Lady of Lourdes, and it was a replica of Lourdes in France. And so always, from little kindergarten, first grade, second grade, and they did all these little ceremonies, but I would always see the Mother Mary, the statue, in a grotto, okay, with all like the crutches, symbolizing all the miracles that took place there. And also there was a stained glass window, like behind me on the right, of the Blessed Mother. And, because sometimes those nuns were really strict, not so pleasant. And I would look at her like, oh my goodness. And relationship anchored at that point. And I knew something about the divine feminine. From little, I was like, something is not right. And most certainly, all of us knew from quite young that something's not right with this world. And, at one point, I'm sure we still do feel like aliens being here, like there is, what's with this creation? What's with that? So that was, I would say, the propeller that, like both of you, put me into a different pathway of seeking, like something's not right. I knew the imbalance of the divine feminine immediately. What do we need to do to correct it? What is my mission? And then that is what brings us on our path. And so then finally now, I've had other experiences with the Divine Mother, Mother Mary. I have a special relationship with her. She pops in ever so often as a guidance. So our World Peace Summit at the Cosmic Center is because she popped in and showed me 5 sages of the Middle East. And this was the time of Benghazi. And they said to me, what are you going to do about it? I'm like, what do you mean? What am I going to do about it? What? But all of us are asked to do something. And even if we don't know, like, are you kidding me? How do you do this? When you say yes, it unfolds. It absolutely unfolds. And then the time before, and this is very important for your audience, if I can get this in. The Divine Mother came in. I actually had an experience when I was on a sound bed. It was Reverend Robin Richardson. And I was on there and I went into a deep theta state. And then all of a sudden, to make it really quick, I'm going up these rocks and there's water coming down. And I had no fear. My footing was straight. And it was a whole experience that got me to an ethereal temple where I saw a diamond, and in it was a woman, a beautiful woman. And I realized to me, it was Mother Mary. But of course, that's the archetype for, Isis, for Athena, for all the goddesses and the high priestesses and the priestesses. It is the feminine archetype. And she said to me, and it's written in the back of our programs, she said that she needed someone to keep the polarities in balance. This was 10 years ago. This was in 2010. She said, I need someone, light workers, to keep the polarities in balance. She said that there was going to be extreme polarity swings, just like what? Atlantis. Okay, now I'm not getting all this connection now. Now you look back and say, oh, that dot connects to this dot that connects to this dot. And she also said, how do you maneuver through this time? She said, become, the neutral observer. In other words, you're not getting into the thick of things. You cannot get involved in the polarity swings. So, for example, male, female, Republican, Democrat, smoker, non-smoker, you cannot participate in any of that. You have to rise above that energetically. Keep the polarity balanced. So we as light workers don't even realize how powerful we are. Our intentions, and as the Ascended Masters always say, thank you for showing up, ripples throughout the cosmos. So from that point in that 10 years, I tell everybody I do not engage in that. I have my own opinions, obviously, and I'll act on my own discernment and my own opinions, but not getting caught up. And I tell everybody, for everyone that's listening, that is the trap. It's the emotional manipulation of humans, and we have to be careful of that. All right, that's what the Christ came in and say, don't fall into this energy. You want to come up and vibe to this and help to stabilize the situation. So now Bach Tower. Atlantic.
Can I stop you for a second?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is that why you started? What was that? That was before that. You got that message before you started doing anchoring of light. But I was going to say you do that anchoring of light every Monday.
Oh yeah,
And
the anchoring light came.
Is that a part of the polarity, holding the balance? Is that part of what you do for that?
No, that came after. The anchoring light was where all new light workers and star seeds on the planet. I'm here to tell you, okay, that when you think something and say, "Are you kidding? I wonder who's going to do that," and you look around and there's nobody behind you, that means it's you. Okay, and as shocked as
fingers pointed at you.
Are you kidding me? I'm not worthy. I'm not smart enough. I'm all the excuses why you can't do it. They said it's you. So I had to get past my fear, past my, are you kidding, my own self-worth issues and all the baggage we all carry, and start the anchoring light. I had a whole experience of going with Dr. Stephen Greer and seeing UFOs and had telepathic. I said, okay. So I started the anchoring light meditation. I showed up and I started to share what I felt was coming through, and people kept on coming back. I'm like, oh my gosh, I guess I gotta show up.
They like this stuff.
And then it opened up a lot of other things, the Palladians and the Arcturians, and it just started to go from there. And then, and this is what I want to say, the next level on the anchoring light part, I'm like 2 years into it, I think. Single mother, working, busy, bullet points, please. I got a lot to do. And one of the things that came up was, which I didn't even know Lake Titicaca existed. I must have not been in school that day. And I hear Titicaca, Tata Titi. I'm like, what's this? Like, Lake Titicaca, where is it? It's in Bolivia and Peru. It's the highest lake in the world. And then I get like the Ascended Masters are there, and that's a portal, and it's really important, and you gotta go. And again, what? Shot? What? How do you move? I don't even speak Spanish. I don't know anything. Again, I've done this now. I'm way older, so I'm very seasoned now. That when this comes to you, and I want to hear this all right, we all have assignments. Take a deep breath and just say, okay. Once you do that, the way unfolds. And little did I know that in our anchoring light circle was a beautiful young lady. It looks a bit like you, Lee. Beautiful, blonde hair, blue eyes. She lived in Cusco, Peru, and speaks perfect Spanish. Yeah. And that was my connection to things that she always wanted to bring up. Anyway, it all worked out amazingly. And then I went back again to Bolivia, to Pumapunku. Now, this is important. So why are we being called to different areas of the planet? Mm-hmm. Okay, because everything is held in bone and stone. Mm-hmm. Okay, bone and stone. Okay, that holds the information, the guidance, as does our trees, the ancient lands, that not only do we go there to get activated, but we also activate. Mm-hmm. It's a two-way street. And so what I could tell you is that going to South America twice, going to the Wessex Triangle of England, crop circle, where crop circle actually connected to where I put a stone there, and also going inside the Great Pyramid, into Stonehenge, and don't touch the stones, but I was hugging the stones. I was getting the energetic exchange. Does have great impact. So Bok Tower, the story on that real quick, always Atlantis, never, I just was like, yeah, Atlantis is definitely real. It sunk. I never questioned it. Then nothing about it for a long time. Then all of a sudden in October, November, I was in Nashville, and I got this download in the cubicle. Downloads can happen anywhere. You could be singing a song, walking along, boom, something comes. And you the more that you do not ignore this stuff, the more you build up your spiritual muscle to the subtleness. It's just like doing a muscle, okay, that I ignore no subtle information because it's so easy to ignore it. And I do something to myself. I said, noted, Even if I don't understand it, I make acknowledgement of it. Then it starts to build up. And so anyway, in a cubicle, it was all divinely orchestrated where I was supposed to be so busy, wasn't busy at all. I'm just sitting there. That's when the download came among 200 people. They never even knew. If they had a higher light spectrum, they probably saw a beam of light coming down as this getting all the code. So Atlantis. Yeah. I'm like, huh? Atlantis. So then I now have time to go on the web and, at the internet and check out things and all of this stuff. I come back with two information. They said, one, get your technology together right away. So when I come back to the Cosmic Center, I said, we have to get our technology together. We got to get a Zoom, not knowing about what was about to come. So that was a blessing because we were able to flow right into the technology when we were on shutdown. The second thing that came in, I said, we got to go to Bimini. That's where I thought we had to go. Bimini. We have to go to a portal that's over there. We have to start to get that all together. And so then just before COVID, I had a dream experience. And Lea, I think I told you, I had a dream of the Ark. And the Ark, like Noah's Ark, but a 21st century Ark. So right after that, COVID. So these were all signals to say, this is something big, don't ignore this. And so all these connected dots, we're all doing our own research and it's all coming together. So Bok Tower now presents itself. After COVID-19, I'm like, oh my gosh, did we blow it? The timeline, because many years ago, 30 years ago, they showed me this time was a show called What's Your Price? I think that was the name of it. It was door number 1, door number 2, and door number 3. And they showed me that we're going to go through the ascension process. How the experience is going to be is going to be determined by the human collective, the human consciousness. So we're going to come from fear, or we're going to come from love. Okay, our choices are so important. And clearly they said, right now, we are in shifting timelines. That's the word, shifting timelines, meaning there's all possibilities that can happen. We can choose to have it with more ease and grace. Door number 1, not so bad. We flow through it. Door number 3, real bumpy. And door number 2, between the two. I'm rooting for door number 2. The human species, God bless them, but, it takes a little time for them to, kind of get it together. But that's why we as light workers, those who are awake, those who are awakening, step up to the plate and do what we need to do.
And you also heard like a 10-year time frame.
Yes, I did. I heard clearly that through all my research and, the dreams and the information that was coming in, is that these 10 years are like really, really important. Some may call, if you go into the various ancient books, if you go into the Bible, Revelations, the book of Daniel, and many others around the world, they all speak of this time. Okay, the Kali Yuga. Okay, there's different names for it. But one of the things that I would say, we are in the days of Noah. I believe that. I believe that we are starting or the beginning of what is known as the tribulation. Okay. And so now timelines. There are some timelines that have been in motion for a long time, and maybe we can't change them completely, but we most certainly can mitigate them. Doesn't have to be as harsh. Okay, there are some timelines. World War III was already happened. Who's been keeping World War III back? We have. There are a lot of prophecies out there that has not come to pass because we, have intercepted. A reading or prophecy is only if the circumstances continue, and that will be the outcome. And we know that everything is malleable because we are co-creators, and it is our choices on the outcomes. But in the higher scheme of things, what I sense, what I'm getting is a decade. In this decade, we perhaps I don't know, in 10 years, there's a solar flash. We wake up, your house is clean, and like, oh my God, everything is so clean and bright. You go outside, and the animal kingdom and the planet kingdom, everything is like in symbiotic relationships. We're in a new earth. Or we can go where, there might be a rescue or some guidance or some things or people. There's different scenarios. All I'm going to say is that we right now should pay attention. And if there's any time to follow the path of righteousness, this would be the time to do it. And what's the path of righteousness? Coming from the higher heart of unconditional love. All right, that's what Noah did. Noah came from righteousness, and all the other people, they said, hey, love your brother, okay, and share, okay? And if somebody needs help, help them. And it's not about self-will. It's all about me and the heck with you, okay? Or I'm part of this elite group and everybody is out, or I don't care about your pain because I'm good. It's not going to work that way because we're all interconnected. We're all this interconnected energetic being. So
and I want to go ahead. I just wanted to ask Tiffany what she got with her vision in that timeline.
Well, yes. When in the 80s, I heard 2050, and then it kept getting 2040, and then a couple years ago it was 2032, and the last year it's been like it's speeding up because more and more people are stepping into the light. It's speeding up to 2030. So it's like that's just 10 years. Now, what's interesting too, you talk about Noah's time. Yes, those that people, you have to make a choice now. There's no more time, all right, to drag your feet. You have to make a choice of whether you want to continue this ascension to the fifth dimension with Lady Gaia, with Mother Earth. If you don't, there's no judgment. It's just the 3D on this earth plane is imploding, and you will be carried off of this earth. And they did show me it depends on what someone's soul contract or what they want to choose, whether they go and learn their lessons somewhere else and other planets, others, that's other star systems, whatever, that's fine. But for us here, in that the Noah's Ark is not a physical ark for the ocean, but for the air and ascension. It's a light ship. It's light. And Egypt gave us those symbolisms because they're all in a boat. And it's not about water. It's about light boats ascending. It's how they tested the pharaohs had to go on the coffin, and they had to leave their body and connect to the source, and if they could do that and get back to their body before suffocating, then they were pharaoh, so it's the light ship that we're getting on, not a spaceship, whatever, however you want to visualize that. And so just follow the light and everything will be okay. Stay in that sacred heart center, stay connected to the cosmic heart. And then we're just going to be above everything else that happens. All right. Just observe, but hold this space. You got to hold that sacred space of love and light.
Yes,
it helps everyone else.
It's so, and just to mention real quick, the ark that I saw, right, Tiffany, was like, it wasn't like, it gave me the idea of Noah's Ark, but it was like a 21st century. Yeah. It was the most beautiful piece of architecture, full of light, white light. Yeah. It was all white light. So it was symbolic. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that, let's follow the path of righteousness, which is unconditional love, and hold that space. That's the way home. That's the way to the ascension.
And can you go ahead and share now about your ceremony and how that all came together?
Yes. So how these things work, I thought it was Bimini, but no, it was actually through Joanne. I never heard of Bach Tower, ever. And first I said, you're talking about the tour in England. She said, no, it's Bach Tower. And so I'm like, wow, Bach Tower. So a number of things happened, but I got the hit that Bach Tower was connected to Atlantis, and in further research, it does create that triangulation that incorporates the Bermuda Triangle. Okay, and that land has certain magnetics, and so they have like Spook Hill there, with a car. I remember hearing that years ago. I didn't realize it was in Lake Wales, right? And then the other thing is Saint Anne's Shrine is there, where in the beginning of the 20th century, thousands and thousands of people made a pilgrimage there. Nobody would know this because a miracle took place there. Okay, a child that was dying, the father prayed to the Blessed Mother, and I think he was dying of tuberculosis, and he miraculously was healed. So he devoted, and why it's now in ruins, and the only thing that's left there is the grotto itself. Okay, now I want to hear something interesting just before I go into that. Remember I said I went to an elementary school called Our Lady of Lourdes, and it was the replica of France, Lourdes. This one too was a replica of France. The one that I went to as a child burnt down to the ground. A cathedral burnt to the ground. Only embers. The only thing that survived was the statue of the Virgin Mary. Yeah. Here I'm going to a place that had been abandoned by the Catholic diocese pretty much. And it's just the remnants of what it was once, but it is the grotto and the statue of the Virgin Mary that's left of that. And I said, wow, that's a correlation between the statue from being very young to the statue we were here. And I want to tell light workers that a lot of times the connect the dots, as the two of you know, happen through vast periods of time. That's why you have to go by faith and trust. Later on, you could look back and see how one connected to the other.
Isn't that the truth? I said, isn't that the truth?
Yes.
But I want to hear about the ceremony. How did you gather your people?
So the ceremony, 25 people showed up, okay, and the weather was very ominous, but we know we don't stop, we go forward. The weather was miraculous in terms of when we did our ceremonies, the clouds parted, the sun came in, nobody got rained on during our ceremonies. And when we got there all together, we had various people do various things, but the whole idea is that we did use the names of God, and in particular, the names of the Divine Mother. And what we do, the names of God, there are 5 sacred languages on this planet. And they are Hebrew, Tibetan, Sanskrit, Chinese, and Egyptian, right? Light language, and there's more, but those are the 5 fire letters that have come to our planet, and that's why we use one of those 5 languages to call in the names of God. Just like in the East, they have mantras that they use certain names in Sanskrit. Again, it's tapping into the higher levels. And so that's what we did. We called in the names, and we did a polarity. This was amazing. One half of the group said, Abba, 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 which is Father. The other half said Ima, 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 to create the infinity energy between. So it was like Abba, 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 Ima, 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 Abba, Abba, back and forth until it came into one unison. And then we played sacred music, okay, and everybody, I got such confirmation when I came home what important work this was done. It was just a whole day. That's how was just miraculous. Everything just flowed. And then when we went to the Divine Shrine, to Saint Anne's Shrine, we gathered there together and we said the rosary, which are prayer beads, pretty much, for people not familiar with the rosary. And the intention was there to anchor in the Divine Mother. So apparently, the 4 pillars were there. As Ramu has talked about that. There are people who have been going there before preparing. It's light workers on a layer of another light worker group on a layer. That's how the foundation is being built. And so our time was to come there and to anchor in, being it's already been the ley lines, where somebody went there, Brigitte, with the ley lines that were there and the prayers. So this was like a preparation, if you will, of another layer coming in, this time to anchor, Mother Mary. Now, Mother Mary, the archetype of the divine feminine, she's been showing up on the planet. I mean, she's been showing up on toast. She's been showing up, in St.
Bank
Petersburg.
buildings. Yeah, bank
She's
buildings.
been coming in like for years, talking about peace and trying to enlighten us. So when she comes around, we really want to pay attention. And so the guidance came to Bach Tower, connected to Atlantis, and just, divine synchronicity to information, how important that particular line is, how it is already anchored by other light workers who've come in the past, put crystals there, whatever they did. We now come in as a new layer to bring in the mother arc into Bach Tower, that land of Lake Wales. And that's what we did.
Beautiful. This morning, every week I channel Mary Magdalene and bring her message forward. And today, Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary and Joshua came, and Mother Mary came, and she was actually showing me the waves and waves of divine compassion and mercy and love that was radiating out of Bach Tower. I could see this pink energy, even though the tower, the bell tower, is pink. And I could see all these waves and waves of energy that were emitting. And they said this.
The higher heart of compassion, that pink ray.
Right. That I saw this emanating. And actually, Joanne Gall was on the call this morning. I have a teleconference call every Monday morning. And I went ahead and sent that to you, Reverend Sharon, as well.
Yes. I'm looking forward to hearing that.
And then I sent you the remove from Saturday. So you're welcome to share that with your people if you like. But so this morning it was like, today it was about this awakening of the Divine Mother. So I knew that you had done this fabulous work on Saturday. And I saw all of this energy just emitting out. And then because now really what was happening now is that what she talked about is that it's time to return again, that balance, the polarity of kindness, compassion, and mercy coming from the high heart, helping our brothers and sisters. And we are in chaotic times with the fires and with Black Lives Matter and with COVID and whatever. It's like, it's not a time of separation. Right. It's a time of coming together. It's not a time to be afraid. It's coming from a pure heart and helping people. And so part of, to be honest, this thing with mask and separation is like, it's been upsetting to me because it feels like it's a part of the old world order of Atlantis, of separation and keeping people in fear. So that's what's really triggered me. And I have to check myself and realize that, I've got to stay in that place of high heart to be able to hold the compassion. And so when I saw these waves and waves of energy coming out of the tower this morning, I was just like so happy because I knew you had done great work, and that we're all a part of this. But it was like, yes. I was so excited.
And what's really wonderful? I want to tell everybody that we are part of the spiritual hierarchy. A lot of times we're like, the Ascended Masters are there, the saints are there, we are here. But we are interdimensional beings. And so we are, I've gotten sometimes when you're like, what am I doing in this world? It's so hard. It's not a walk in the park. We already know that. But I have been so impressed many times. Like sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, and I feel down. What's going on? And I'll get an impression so clear. Okay, that says you are loved. They're like, nobody should have a self-esteem problem, because if you know how much you're appreciated into the higher light spectrum realm, they're going, bravo.
Good job.
Into this physical world, you are the boots on the ground. And so if you're hearing these words, just know that you are part of the spiritual hierarchy. You are needed as we need our ascended family. They need us. We are all together in this, and we all have our unique puzzle piece. And as long as we can be authentic to who we truly are, your puzzle piece snaps in with everybody else, and the bigger picture, begins to unfold, of which we are all a part. And I just want to say this too, because Esri Umpalti Ata Yod He Vod He, meaning we are not alone. That's so important. A lot of times we think, there's nobody else, it's just me. First of all, you're not alone on the physical plane, but definitely in the spiritual plane. You have your tribe that loves you, from the angelics to ascended masters to the devas. Okay, there's so much light that's around you, and they'll orchestrate everything. Because what I wanted to tell you, Lee, when you asked about the ceremony unfolded itself. Somebody shows up who does cacao. We had a cacao ceremony.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
He was there. We had somebody show up with a tuning fork. We had people show up with different tools that brought this ceremony together.
Yeah.
And it was not orchestrated by me, or it was orchestrated from the ascended realms. They brought the people in, the circumstances, for it to be in its most perfect and highest service.
And I'm feeling like Tiffany has something to share, because Tiffany, it feels like you're going into an altered state.
Well, it's we are the walking masters. And the reason is because we didn't have to ascend first to become a master. We are walking on this earth plane. And of course, in the ascension process, we're part of that too. We are walking masters is what they're sharing. And just that there's a difference between the 5D humans and the 5D light beings. These light beings are here to help us. The reason is that we've done the work, and we're ascending while still being connected to Earth. This, energetically is so very beautiful. A lot of souls don't want to come here and learn here. They didn't plug in here, and that's fine. They didn't have to, but they didn't get to experience and do the work, the shadow work, the separation work. And that's what distinguishes us when we're all at that 5th dimension level, right? 5D humans, 5D light beings, is we actually do get like a badge of honor. We get like a badge. We do get this, reward, so to speak. It's better than a T-shirt, right? But so we do get recognized that yes, we did this, and so own it, step into it, right here, right now. We are walking masters.
True.
And that's why it's so important. Thank you. That's why it's so important that we come together with our tribe. And that's why I want to thank you, Sharon Elizabeth. Again, I've told you this before, but I want to say this again. I really, really thank you for your determination, your commitment to sharing your knowledge at the Cosmic Center of Spiritual Light. There's so many people who have come there that have received so much wisdom and support. And I can't even remember how I found you. But it's like, I'm like, I still want to come,
We're waiting for you.
Like, I found my tribe. I'm so excited, it's like, somebody understands the tickings of my mind.
Yes.
That's what I say. Someone understands the tickings of my mind. So I know you understand the tickings of my mind. And then I, luckily, what a blessing that not by accident, but, I found Tiffany, or, Tiffany showed up. I was going to be a guest on Laura Romano's show. And then Tiffany and I were, speaking before the show started. And all of a sudden I'm like, can I be a show host? And I'm like, I wasn't planning on that. And so now it's like, I know why that I said that, because Tiffany is a part of my tribe, and I feel this real affinity with her as I feel with you. So it's like, had to have you both on today together as part of my Atlantean sisters. It's like, oh, hallelujah.
And Tiffany and I already Facebook friends, right? We already had a connection.
Oh,
there you are.
It's like, we found each other. Our souls did before we even caught up. It's so funny. But,
and thank you, Lee, for doing this, and Tiffany, because we do have to get the information out there. It's real important. And one of the things the Cosmic Center is now doing is we, in November, October, I was told, touch the hearts and minds of people around the world. And, the technology to me is kind of new. I still have AOL, so that tells you where I am with technology. But a way was shown. And now we have an outreach of people around the world, English speaking, from Africa, New Zealand, Australia, all different places around the world, different villages and tribes that may not have this message come to them as easily as we do here in the West. Mm-hmm. And so this outreach, and there is such a response because there is a thirst to know and seek, and we can give the guidance. And so that is why, the shows that you have and the things that we do to get the message out there, because people are seeking, they're looking, like, I need some kind of explanation to what's going on in this world,
It's so true too, what you say, the technology, and just think about, that's what kept us all together during this lockdown of 2020, is more people coming together in this setting. We're all in different places, but we're together. Exactly. And so it's interesting, I didn't, when I started off my own business 11 years ago of a healing business, and then 2 years after that, it was, okay, I was thrown into a position to learn producing it. And I'm like, well, I don't know. Okay, I'm going to be quiet because I've learned. It's just easier just to say, okay, and just go with the flow.
Yeah.
And so then to lead all the way to 5 years ago of now you're going to have your own production company, because they had to work with me with the technology, because I used to, my husband didn't like, don't get near that computer, you're going to zap it, But so they worked with me in the energy to where I sit here with multiple computers around me, Now remember, there's crystals in your computer.
Right.
So you can love on your, crystals in your computers too, to get them to work. And that was what they taught me, was just connect with the crystals in your computer. And I was like, oh, they're like, establish that teamwork. But that is important to be in line with the technology. And so I love how that is just, this is what we're doing. And you validate that too, Reverend Sharon Elizabeth. So it's...
Years ago, what they said was use the tools of Aquarius, because we are in the age of Aquarius. So the tools of Aquarius is the technology. And it's so interesting, because if you're to do it, as I said, I still have my little AOL, and everybody laughs when it says you have mail. However, I have been put in positions like when I was in Nashville, where I have to work with 5 different programs and 2 screens at the same time. So they said, don't worry, we'll teach you.
Yes.
So, you are able, and again, it's getting beyond the fear, and we have to drop off, oh, I'm not smart enough, or oh, I'm too old, or whatever your excuse is. Okay, you now have to take that 3rd dimensional thinking, because you're no longer vibing to that. Okay, you are vibing on another thing where at this point I'm ageless. I don't think of age. It's not because I'm an eternal being. So I'm just going to show up where I need to show up, do what I need to do. And that's that 5th dimensional thinking, that you're no longer constricted by 3D guidelines. That is a program. That is a program. You must do this, then you do this, then you do the other. We said, well, who implemented this program, by the way? And it is the time to question, not just to go ahead and follow things blindly because somebody else said it. And somebody told them before that. And there's a whole lineage. We've been working and trying to get rid of what I call crusted thought forms. Crusted thought forms, where on the planet, there is still crusted thought forms of wars or, whatever problem was, and 2 sides didn't like it. From thousands of years ago, they're still carrying that generation after generation after generation. And so now it's time to say, why are we even having this division? And you go back and look at what the source was and say, well, that's ridiculous. We don't need to carry that on. In my own family, cousins, where there was, splits generations ago with family, why are we continuing the split? The cousins are coming together. So we're not going to carry on that lineage. We're going to heal. And that's important for a lot of people. You are the ones to heal your tribals, heal your ancestors. Okay. You are now the ones to repair the woundedness, the hurts, the separations. Somebody in a family line is the one to do it. And if you're to do it, then you should do it. And I had the privilege of officiating a wedding for a little cousin in North Carolina in Tuesday, where generations back caused some splits. So there was branches not connected. And there was an effort to bring these branches back together. And so I was asked to officiate the wedding, and I did. And it brought all this family that was disconnected together. And I said, and they're all way younger than me. And I said, we need to do an ancestral prayer. Okay, we need to heal our lineage. Everybody agreed. And so I used the Howard Wills prayers of forgiveness. And we went through that together. We lit a candle. And we said this prayer together, and other family members that couldn't be there actually dialed in. And my dad, because this is his side of the family, my father, who has passed long time ago, and which I realized was a master in himself. I didn't know while he was alive. But at any rate, he showed up, just like how I'm seeing you. He showed up, and I was able to go 7 generations back and see the choice that was made that had the rippling effect of generation after generation of the same pattern: separation. And so we
can do that with Atlantis. We can do that with
correct.
This timeline.
Exactly.
We just have a few minutes. We just have a few minutes left. Our hour went so quickly. I just want to say thank you, Sharon Elizabeth, for being here and doing all your great work and being a sister of light. And Tiffany, as well as making this all happen. I want to share and give the shout out that Tiffany and I are going to do a master class starting October 2nd on, let's see, what dates are those? And we're going to talk about Atlantis. We're going to continue this conversation. We're going to continue this healing Friday
at 4 p.m.
October 2nd, 9, 6, and 23. We're going to continue with this process of talking about and healing. So, Sharon Elizabeth, if you have any interest in maybe popping in on one of those and sharing something with us.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You are my sisters of light. Are you kidding? We're connected now for the heart. So
that's right. Through the cosmic heart. So is there something else you want to share, Tiffany, before we go? Anything you want to share about that?
Just vibrating. It's just sitting here vibrating in love. It just feels so good.
It's beautiful.
And by not by coincidence, but I guess by coincidence, I shouldn't say by coincidence. Next week, I'm going to have Judith Corvin Blackburn here, who's been on my other show, Inspiration from Spirit, when I had my other show. She wrote a book called Activating Your 5D Frequency, a guideline for the journey into higher dimensions. So isn't that interesting? She's going to be my guest next week after we talk today. And then, of course, Lisa Lockett, beautiful Lisa Lockett, she lost her husband in the 9/11 attack. I was going to have her on today because of 9/11. And she's written this beautiful book called The Light in 9/11, Shocked by Kindness, Healed by Love. She's in New Jersey. But you took precedence, Sharon Elizabeth, over Lisa. So anyhow, I had to bump Lisa back. So sorry, Lisa. Hey,
9/11 forever in our hearts. Forever in our hearts.
Yes.
So anyhow, I've got some fascinating guests coming on. I want to thank both of you. I will see you in October, Sharon Elizabeth. I'm excited. I'm coming home again. Woohoo! And I'm trying to get Tiffany to come. She's in Connecticut. So anyhow.
That'd be awesome.
Thank you for both being on. Thank you. This has been really fabulous. And again, for those who have just joined in, you can certainly email me or any of us. I guess we can show our email. My email is Lea Chapin at gmail.com or my website, leachapin.com. If you have questions about this, if you're confused, I know any of all of us would be welcome. And take a look at the masterclass that Tiffany and I are going to put together if you want to learn more about Atlantis and how you can begin to use your own wisdom, light body, knowledge, energy to help change these times, because we are the change we wish to see. It's not for us to be in this state of chaos or in the state of darkness or in the state of separation. We need to do our inner work so we can be the light. And because these beautiful ladies have done their work, they're continuing to do their work. We're holding the light for the planet. We love it. We love all souls. So please come join in the family of light. And so that's all I got to say. So namaste to everybody. Go ahead.
And I just wanted to say, people want to see some of the pictures. They can go. It's posted on our Facebook page, Cosmic Center Spiritual Light Facebook page. and they'll be able to see some of the pictures and the cacao ceremony and different
fabulous.
things. So, and I'll be sending you some pictures too. I'll send you some too, Tiffany.
Yes. So thank you.
All right. Well, thank you both. And we made it without the rooster.
You're gonna learn how to take care of a rooster now. Okay.
That's our wake-up call. So, yeah, you both have a fabulous day, ladies. Thank you so much. All right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Don't want the fun to end? Grab more refreshments. Then head over to the Goldylocks Productions YouTube channel. With the huge selection of shows, the fun doesn't have to end.